All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on minimum support price and agriculture reforms. The participants are Ashok Tandon, political analyst, and Neelab Srivastav, journalist.
The sit-in of thousands of farmers around Delhi's borders entered its seventh day today, and against the three new farm laws enacted by the central government. And to thrash these issues, the representatives of the farmers, about 40 farmer associations and their representatives, they today met a panel of central ministers led by the Union Agriculture Minister, Mr. Narendra Singh Tomar, and this was the fourth round of talks. The Agriculture Minister, later emerging out from the meeting that went about for about 7-8 hours, said that they have found common ground. The government is willing to consider the demands of the farmers with an open mind, without an ego, and he did say that we are going to consider all these concerns. And while there was no immediate resolution of the current situation, the next date of the meeting has been fixed for December 5. Mr. Tandon, hectic developments all day round, starting with the Punjab Chief Minister, Mr. Amrinder Singh, meeting the Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, in the morning, seeking his intervention, seeking the centre's support in this entire thing.
Certainly, this meeting between the Punjab Union Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, was very significant because Mr. Amrinder Singh voiced concern about the agitation, and he said that this may have impact not only on the economy of Punjab but also threaten national security. This was a very, very significant statement, and that's why he appealed to both the sides, that means the government and the farmers, agitating farmers, to resolve the deadlock. And in that context, if I may recall, that during the December 1 meeting, 1st of December meeting, which was the third round, the centre had asked the farmer unions to identify specific issues relating to these three recently passed farm laws and come up with clause-wise objections before the next round, which took place today. And accordingly, the farmers' representatives, they met the central government ministers today, and they had taken along with them, in fact, replies to all the issues raised by the government, and also the issues which they are having in mind, and that's why they are agitating. And today, in the very first round, which went on for more than about 3 hours, the farmers were given a chance to make their presentations, to raise their concern, and also answer to the assurances which the government has given. And the 10-page draft which the farmers had taken with them, they presented before the government, and that's why the talks went on and on and on. But towards the end of the meeting, Mr. Tomar assured the agitating farmers, number one, which he also, as you also mentioned, that number one, that the government has no ego issues. The government has got an open mind, and an assurance that the government is looking at all the concerns of the farmers. That a very categorical positive statement which has come from the government side, I think it's noteworthy. And then, as we all know, the minister assured the farmers that on the issue of minimum support price, the government is willing to give an assurance. And he said very categorically that MSP was there and is there and will continue to be there. So no question of doing away with the MSP issues, and that assurance, in fact, not Mr. Tomar but his deputy minister, he said that even the government is willing to give this assurance on MSP in writing also. So that way, I think the talks are heading in a very, very positive manner. The talks were held in a very cordial atmosphere, and there were very, very constructive suggestions made. And as far as the other issue of the farmers' concern was with regard to their objections to this, but although they are having reservations and objections to all the three farm laws, but their main issue essentially is about the farmers' produce, trade and commerce Promotion and Facilitation Act, or as we call it, FPTC Act. And their apprehension is that some of its provisions, they fear, will weaken the Agriculture Produce Market Committee, APMC, that is the mandis. On that also, the minister has given the assurance that in no way the government has anything to do to weaken this mandi system. But on that, I think the talks are still continuing. And now, as we know, the next round will take place on December 5, Saturday. And then perhaps some way out may be found. And in that context, I do hope that, as we all know, in a democratic process, in a democratic system, dialogue is the only way out, and dialogue is taking place. But in the meantime, the minister also very rightly so appealed to the agitating farmers that in this winter weather and when there is pandemic, it would be better if they call off the agitation. But apparently the decision of the agitating farmer was that no, till such time that a solution is found, that agitation will continue. That is the situation. But in a very constructive atmosphere, the clause-by-clause objections of the farmers were discussed, and the government tried to give assurance to the extent possible they could give.
After the passing of these three bills, the laws, the government has multiple forums and multiple times tried to assure that this is something that will revolutionize the farm sector. These are major reforms. But the farmers' concern has been that their apprehensions are that this will leave them at the mercy of big corporate. One specific point where Mr. Tomar, while talking to the media persons today after the meeting, said was about the APMC. He said there is a concern in the mind of the farmer that APMCs will be finished. I can assure, he said, that the APMCs are going to be strengthened, their utility is going to be increased, and also the appellate mechanism where the farmer said is the SDM the court of SDM is a lower level, that can also be enlarged. So overall, the government has said that all their reservations, all their concerns will be addressed, and also we are looking at a legal framework for the MSP regime. Mr. Tandon?
Yes, certainly. This is a very, very positive indication. In fact, Mr. Tomar also touched upon the farmer concern about, penalizing the farmer for pollution. That also he said they are, trying to address that issue also. And a couple of other issues like on MSP also, as Mr. Thomas has assured, there's no question of diluting or doing that, but they want some kind of a framework on that. So therefore, we will have to wait till December 5, what emerges out of that meeting in terms of whatever assurances are being given. And there are indications that the government may be, even willing to give some kind of not only written but in a very concrete manner assurance on the MSP, because right from day one the government has made it amply clear that there is no question of doing away with the MSP, but they were expecting and demanding this kind of an assurance in writing. Now, since the government has agreed to give assurance on the MSP issue, I think if this particular issue is resolved to the satisfaction of the agitating farmers, and then there can always be a dialogue on the pending issues. So let's hope that things will be moving in a very positive direction. And because most of the farmers' leaders representing 35 organizations, they are very responsible people. They do understand that in this situation of pandemic and winter season, it's not, in the larger interest of the farmer community that such agitation should continue on the road, and also causing hardship to a numerous number of people and, supply of essential commodities, etc. So I do hope that both sides will at least try to thrash out whatever the ticklish issues or the pending issues are there, and hopefully things should be better when they meet on 5th of December. Let's wait and let's hope for the best.
Right. I will draw your attention, Mr. Tandon. Yeah, I will draw your attention towards one of the other specific demands that the farmers and their associations have been making is that they fear, and their concern is that the small farmers and their land will be usurped by the big farmers or maybe the corporates. The agriculture minister very specifically talked to the media persons when he said that no one can take his land, the farmer's land, and this is very clearly written in the act. Similarly, to talk about the middleman, while the farmers have called them service providers, the government has said that these middlemen are the bottlenecks and hindrances when it comes to increasing the farmers' income and also their productivity.
You know, the agitating farmers and farmer unions, they have their own reservations, concerns, apprehensions, doubts about certain provisions in these three reforms which the government has undertaken. They have also certain reservations about the Essential Commodities Amendment Act and but the question is that all these issues and concerns are now being addressed. So it's not saying that the government is conscious of the facts that they have concerns about certain things, and they are trying to redress and address those concerns and trying to find a way out. So therefore, we'll have to look at the whole approach in totality, and one by one, clause by clause, each concern is being discussed, and a solution they are trying to find a solution. As I said, when the minister says we have an open mind, we have no ego issue, and we are looking at all the concerns of the farmers, and therefore we'll have to wait and watch, and we do hope that as the dialogue is the only way, and as we know yesterday also and this morning also, Mr. Tomar appealed to our farmers, he said our farmer brothers not to agitate. We are ready to talk about issues and resolve differences, and I am sure our dialogue will have a positive result. Such a very very positive statement coming from the minister. I think we will have to wait and watch, and we do hope that but the fact remains that the government has been trying to convince the farming community that the new farm laws were the need of the hour. In the coming time, these are going to bring revolutionary changes. And earlier also in the 2 rounds which took place at the secretary level in Punjab, and the government tried to dispel all the notions, wrong notions, or whatever the concerns or reservations they had. And therefore, I personally feel things are moving in the right direction, and therefore, hopefully, the peaceful protest which the farmers have been, undertaking around Delhi will end into a very positive outcome.
Summing this up, Mr. Tandon, last few points where Mr. Tomar was talking, and even the farmer associations coming out, they had said there were multiple voices, but they said that they are looking forward to the last talks. That this should be the last talks on 5th December. So I think the talks are the resolution. Samvad se hi vivad ka hal. So I think looking forward to that. Resolution should be there at that moment when probably the meeting on Saturday happens.
Certainly, hopefully, we should all hope for the best, and let's wait. But as I said, if things have started moving in the right direction in a very positive manner, there is no reason why anybody should have doubts about the outcome. And therefore, let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that farmers also will see reason and appreciate the government's efforts to resolve and find a solution to all their concerns and issues in whatever manner it is. And the mechanism which will be worked out for resolution of these issues will have to be seen.
Right.
On the
We look
5th of
forward
December.
to right, Mr. Tandon. We look forward to the meeting on 5th, and this we hope it will be a win-win situation for both the sides, where the government has said that this will be a revolutionary step, and the farmers, they also get the fair share of what they are demanding. Thank you very much, Mr. Tandon.